What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dolphins Daily, your daily dose of Dolphins content with your boy Chris Kane. Let's talk about the Dolphins. Can't talk about the Dolphins without talking about injuries, so we're going to start with injuries. Cornell Armstrong, who's one of our reserve corners, he was like our cornerback 5 this year. We were trying to get him back. We knew he was out. Didn't know how bad the injury was. Well, he's on the IR, which means he's going to be out for the next 4 weeks. Throw that in with the Storm Duck. Throw that in with Artie Burns and Cater Coho. It's just it's a thing. This actually makes more sense as to why we were trying out 3 people yesterday, none of which at this moment has made the team, which I think is predictable. We'll see. Maybe we'll get some news later today that one of them has, but they'll most likely go to the practice squad first before coming up. But knowing he'll be out for 4 weeks is like, okay, we know there's no relief coming from him on that position. I don't know what Storm Duck's recovery looks like. He's been like questionable to play the last 3 weeks and just hasn't played. So we haven't put him on the IR officially. So he may be a game or two away because we thought he would be out for longer than he would be on the IR as well. We have not done that. So hopefully Storm is coming back to replace him. But if he's out lingering, we've seen lingering injuries happen with Austin Jackson. Like, hey, my toe's not feeling too good, kind of lingering. Then he was just out. This is not a great situation. I mean, Cornell wasn't supposed to be like our guy anyway. Jason was our guy, and then Jason's out now. So it's been a number of corners just like kind of dropping like flies. It really does feel like a cursed position at this point. I don't know why. It just seems like the turf monster is getting people. A lot of hamstrings, groins, ACLs, and a lot of stuff I feel like is not like it's like soft tissue injuries. And soft tissue injuries are annoying because they can linger, and when you go to test them out, they can re-injure. So you'll say, oh, my groin feels okay. And the minute you do like a shuffle drill, you feel like, it pulled a little bit. And now you're out. It's tough. Hopefully, it's only 4 weeks. We've had a couple people on the IR who start the year who are not playing yet. Because IR doesn't mean you will be back at 4 weeks. It means you're out for at least 4 weeks. It could extend for indefinitely. Like Austin Jackson technically can come back this week. But he obviously isn't. So, yeah, I mean we don't like seeing more secondary injuries, especially going against Herbert and these 3 receivers who I think are all challenging in different ways. Quentin Johnson, obviously giant receiver, big play threat. Keenan Allen is never not open. He's never not open. I don't know how he's open at 104 years old, but he gets open. And Lad McConkey is quick and fast. I mean, it's a tough matchup to have not all your best corners playing, but we will do what we can. There's been a lot of talk about Coach McDaniel and his like coaching standing, right? We've been saying hot seat since before this year started. I mean, Phil very much on the board. You had been there for 3 years already. Made it to the playoffs twice last year. Didn't go well. And there's a lot of conversations about what the team is doing, what's the team culture, what's the discipline level of the team, and all that comes back to coaching, right? Like you run the show. I know owners own the team, but the coaches run the show. So if the coach is lenient, then the team performs leniently. If the coach is mentally fragile, the team typically goes that way, etc. So our team has been seen as soft, kind of flashy, but no substance, and it goes back to coach. Now that we're 1-4, of course, we did an episode yesterday about Rex Ryan. We'll do more about potential coaches who could be possibly taking this job. So Jeremy Fowler, who's an insider, his name resonates in the ESPN and NFL world. If he says something, he's got reporting on it. So they asked Jeremy Fowler about Coach McDaniel, and this is what he had to say. He said, well, Mike McDaniel's seat is moderately hot, I would say. I really think that ownership there really likes Mike McDaniel a lot. There's not something where they are looking for an excuse to move on from him right now. So I don't expect anything at this moment this week. I feel like they want to give him a little bit of time, but there are a lot of factors that could go into that kind of situation. One of which is your team getting better? Is it lifeless? Are the seats in the stands in Miami Gardens empty? I butchered that read, but you got the gist of what he was saying. And I think that's kind of what we've been reporting, that I thought he would coach the rest of the year. And I was seeing reporting before Jeremy Fowler. So we might have similar sources, which is good. That the sources that I was seeing were like, he's not going anywhere during the year. That coach, the ownership is mad, and We don't like what the fans are saying, but nothing's going to happen. I think the team, I don't know if the team has gotten better. I mean, the first couple of weeks, we just looked lifeless. But fans are going to support the Dolphins in Miami because that's what the fans do in Miami. Like, Miami is a football city that has a bunch of other stuff going on. If the Dolphins are good, that's more important than the Heat being good. That's more important than the Marlins being good. We claim the Preds, the Panthers, not Preds, that's Nashville. We claim the Panthers, but that's like Sunrise, right? So Miami is what the city wants to be about. So people are going to show up because they've been lifelong fans. That's what it is. I don't ever think there'll be a time where there's no one in the stands, where it's just like, oh, where people wearing the Saints bags over their faces. I don't see that. I don't think that's how Miami works. Now, they might start leaving games early. You might get less season ticket people, and then if it starts affecting the bottom line, that could be a thing. What this actually kind of opens up, and I'm hearing it now, Dolphins win 6 games this year, maybe 7. I can see a scenario where Coach McDaniel comes back next year, and I never saw that until right now. Because the worst case scenario before the year started, if I told you you're going to start the year 1-4, you would think, oh, coach is out of here. But then when you hear the owner come out and say, hey, we're not happy, we'll hear your grievances, but we're going to stay the course, it's like, And then you got insider reporting like, yeah, I mean, his seat is moderately hot. I'm like, moderately? I thought it was hot in the offseason. You then start 1-4 with Tua not being hurt, because if Tua was hurt, we would just give an excuse. You start 1-4 with your quarterback, and then the seat is moderately hot still. That tells me that this might be a Chris Greer situation where maybe you deserve to be fired before, but because you're in the institution and we like you, we just kind of massage it like, hey, maybe we just like give you play calling duties, but add another coach to like supplement something, or we get the DC out, but add another DC in. Maybe an assistant coach that has more power. Like, I can see a scenario now, and I never saw it until right now, where Coach McDaniel does not make the playoffs this year. We don't have a winning record, and he doesn't get fired. Never saw that as a chance until right now. Kind of scary. Because then it's like, what's the point of the season? What's the purpose of we're going to turn a narrative around and we're going to show the world if you can basically have another unsuccessful season and then there's no real consequences to it? Because then what you set up for next year is possibly the last year of Tua and Coach McDaniel at the same time. Because right now we owe Tua money for next year. So no matter how down people are on Tua, we're not going to get rid of him. There's too much money being owed to him. It would just be the dead cap hit would be crazy. The cap would be destroyed. It doesn't make any sense. But after next year, we can kind of get out of this contract. So if it's a situation of we're going to give both of y'all one more year, that would be a really hard sell to the fan base, but the fan base is loyal. So it's almost like, do we got to sell y'all on your lifelong dedication to a team? I think you should always be courting your fans. That's how I'm an owner. So who cares what I think? I have a YouTube show. But it does feel like there's a pathway to Coach McDaniel staying and not winning, which I never even thought about until now, and that's interesting. Rookie report for Week 5. We'll start from the top again. Disastrous. This has been, the last couple rookie reports have been not good in any respect. We'll start at the top with Kenneth Grant. The same story. Like, the idea is that throughout the year, he should be getting better at certain things. I said a good year for him would be to be a clogger in the middle, maybe a couple sacks, batted balls, TFLs. That's what I want to see from him. What I'm seeing is him just being consistently blown off the ball. He's not being blown off the ball because he's not a good player. It's because his pad levels are too high. Even though he's like shorter than the offensive lineman a lot of times, they're getting under his pads and they're moving him. If you look at these Carolina highlights of Rico Dowdle, you see him being washed down or being pushed back a lot. What you don't see is him getting in the backfield and making anything happen. It's been consistent game after game. He's not getting behind his pads. He's 330 pounds, and he does not play like it. He plays like me. I'm $180. It's like we don't live the same life. He's not doing great behind his pads. I assume he's learning from Zach, but I don't know what's going on there because I feel like Zach's not playing particularly well. Zach's been better the last 2 weeks, but he's not nearly as good now as he was the last 2 years. So I don't know, maybe it's a general drop-off of the position, but Kenneth, no bueno. Jonah, oof. Jonah is currently rated as the worst guard in the league. Full stop. Like, there's been multiple, so they do like gradings for offensive linemen the way they do for like QBR and those kind of things. And in 3 of Jonah's games this year, he's gotten a 0 rating. It almost seems impossible to have a 0 rating. And what it is that he hasn't been great in run protection, but in pass protection has just been dog water. Because what happens is that we talked about like the punch of an offensive lineman. That's the initial hit they give to a D lineman to try to get them off center, to either get inside their pads, get control of the situation. He like shows his arms. His arms are basically in front of you. And what D linemen are doing, because he shows his arms so early, they know where he is. So they either knock his arms out the way, grab his arms or pull them, or swim over his arms. And he doesn't seem to be athletic enough right now to get knocked out of off his center and then still get back in position. What's happening is they see his arms, knock him down, and then he's like fumbling forward, and then out there get out the Tua, or they're stopping and running back in the backfield. And so it's like he's not even holding up long enough for a play to develop. We'll have a sweep and he'll miss his tackle, and now the running back has to like veer 5 yards back to avoid Jonah's guy. So instead of cutting up field and getting yardage, we have to retreat 5 yards, and by the time you turn the corner, it's a negative 3-yard gain. You're like, oh, that was a dumb play call. It's like, it wasn't. Jonah didn't do his job. He misses blocks so poorly that we couldn't get a jet sweep, which should be a pretty fast-hitting like play. It has to be diverted because this guy's in the backfield. If you look at a lot of times Tua's been pressured, it's coming from Jonah's side. Unfortunately, it's also coming from the right side, but that's neither here nor there. He's not been great. In fact, he's been objectively bad. But we're going to keep playing him. He's a second-round pick. We got that. Dante Trader Jr. did not play at all in the second half. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. You just didn't play. Jordan Phillips is a weird case because when Jordan Phillips does play, he looks like he's at least competent. He's not a game wrecker. He's not making great plays, but he's not making bad plays. He's more stalemating, which from an interior D lineman, not bad. You're at least like mucking it up. You're not being pushed off your center. You're just not pushing them off theirs. You're just kind of like, all right, we're both here. So if a linebacker was coming off of him either side, they should theoretically be able to get through because the O-lineman hasn't made it to the second level. But he's losing playing time as well. It seems like we're shuffling the D-line a little bit, trying to figure out what combination is working. Somehow he's being pushed out in that particular shuffle, so he's not, producing that much. Ollie Gordon had negative rushing yards on Sunday. 3 carries, negative rushing yards. Now, I don't believe he had negative 3 rushing yards because he's not a good running back. I kept seeing him with 2 to 3 defenders in front of him behind the line of scrimmage when he got the ball. We tried a couple sweeps, tried to go hit, and it was just like when he got the ball, I saw a lot of white jerseys. And I was like, oh, who missed the tackle? If he's running left, it's Jonah, most likely. So I think Jonah's guys were getting through free, and they were stopping Ollie, so then we just stopped running Ollie because, again, we didn't run the ball at all on Sunday. So, his stock is down for 2 weeks in a row, but I don't think it's down because he's not good. I just think that the team, at least on that side, on the O-line, is not doing their job. So, obviously, you can't run the ball. Achane was bad running the ball. So, Ollie wasn't good the last 2 weeks. Don't know if it's all on him. I think that's more offensive line based. Before we close the show out, I do want to give a little bit of love, though, to Patrick Paul. Because Patrick Paul is currently rated as a top 10 pass protector in the league, which is awesome. Good. Give an applause. I'm not going to pat myself on the back. I was higher on Patrick Paul than I think most people in the media were. But I like the fact that he's actually panning out. This also kind of gives credence to the idea of, waiting before playing. He played a little bit last year. We know that. But we didn't draft him and say, go get in the fire. We drafted him and he got to play behind someone more experienced, someone very good, and he got to learn the technique, and now he's doing his job. That's what you want. What he is doing is what we expected from Jonah, but we threw Jonah in the fire. So this may be a little bit unfair, but Patrick's doing his job. I said on the last show, hey, you're not hearing these negative reports about Patrick Paul. You're hearing about Larry not doing his job and Keon not doing his job, but don't get me started with Jonah. And they're all Jackson being out, although Eichenberg out, everybody else is getting their negative reports. Patrick Paul is healthy. he has been doing his job. He's given up 5 pressures this year, but I think some of those have been Tua going through like progression 4 or 5. He hasn't given up those quick pressures that Jonah does, where it's like as soon as Tua hits his back foot, oh man, they're rushing me. Patrick's been very solid, man, and if he keeps us up, we're gonna start talking around week 12. We're in week 5 now, right? Week 6, I guess, going into week 6. If he keeps this current play up going to week 12, we're going to start having a conversation about, is it a possibility that he can make the Pro Bowl? We're going to just talk about it. I don't know if he's going to make it. Like, I assume the entire Colts offensive line is going to make the Pro Bowl because no one's even coming close to Daniel Jones in the pocket. He's just like sitting there patting the rock. But I think he's playing himself into a legitimate starting left tackle role, which is awesome. He's under contract for the next couple of years, which is also awesome. We don't have to pay him anything. We like Brewer. We think we like Austin Jackson, but we'll see about the health and all that. If he locks his side down, which it seems like he's en route to doing, then we know we basically have for sure 2 positions solid, center left tackle. I think healthy Austin Jackson is a lockdown. He's been unhealthy the last couple of years, so I don't know what to do with that. But let's just assume he's healthy. If we have those 3 locked in, then that means that we're either hoping for a James and Jonah ascension and those 2 guard positions get good, or we may have to go back in the draft and get another guard. But knowing you have 3 solids and you can build around the other 2, I think puts you in a much stronger position than just being like, I don't know what that left side is doing. Plus the guards, any certainty on the offensive line is good. Any. And unfortunately, we don't have a lot right now, but at the moment, Patrick Paul kind of is. So we do a lot of ragging on the offensive line for good reason. They've been not particularly good this year, but he has been good, and he wasn't expected to be. He believed in himself. He talked with his whole chest in the offseason. He said, I was built for this. I'm built different. I'm ready for it. Teron bigged him up as well. He's showing up. But as always, y'all, thank you for tuning in to Dolphins Daily. We appreciate the love and support. Thank y'all for the likes and the subscribes. We'll see you next time on Dolphins Daily. Peace.